This is Fitness Blender's Tank Top Arms, Round 2. In this workout, we're going to go through 10 different exercises to really focus on those arms, and we're going to be doing 10 repetitions each with only one set per exercise. We haven't included a warm-up or a cool-down, so you'll want to make sure you get both of those in. Our first exercise is going to be a lateral raise. Kelly is going to be using 6 pounds for this one. You're going to start with your palms facing down towards your thighs, and then nice and slow, bring those arms straight up as high as you can, a little bit above shoulder height if possible. Then nice and slow, back down to that thigh, barely touch, and right back up again. Just make sure you're keeping those core muscles really nice and tight, contracting those abs especially, keeping a nice neutral spine. You don't want to let yourself rock forward through those shoulders or lean back. You just want a nice, slow, controlled motion as you raise those arms up and out to the side. Now your range of motion in that shoulder should stop you just a little bit above that shoulder height, so don't worry about going any higher than that. Just make sure the palm of that hand stays facing down towards the ground. Just keep those lungs open. You want to either be exhaling or inhaling the entire time. Never hold your breath. Let's go ahead and move on to our next exercise, which is going to be a tricep extension over your head. Kelly's going to be using one dumbbell at 18 pounds for this one. Go and stand nice and straight and tall. Again, nice neutral spine. Those hands are going to come straight up over top of your head. Bend only at that elbow, dropping that dumbbell back behind you, and then slowly extend it straight back over top of your head. You want to make sure that upper arm stays straight up and down. You want that elbow directly above that shoulder joint, only hinging from that elbow, trying to get a nice full range of motion. So let that dumbbell drop down as low as is comfortable on that elbow, as long as you can control it. Now Kelly's using just one dumbbell here. You can use 2 if you want to, if it feels more comfortable on that elbow. Either way, it's just using a weight that you can control, making sure you can get a nice full range of motion. Again, make sure you keep that back really nice and straight up and down. A lot of people have a tendency to arch backwards while they're doing this one. So make sure you're keeping that chest pulled forward and that upper arm perfectly straight up and down. Keep those core muscles contracted. Nice, even breaths. Never hold your breath. If you want to, you can exhale on the way up and inhale on the way down. And go ahead and let that one relax. We're going to move on to a ventral raise. This one is going to be palms down again. Kelly's going to be using 6 pounds in each hand. So again, standing up nice and straight and tall, those palms facing in towards the front of your thigh this time. You're going to bring those hands straight up in front of your chest and then all the way over top of your head. Nice full extension, then slowly all the way back down. Make sure that the speed that you go up is the same speed that you use to go back down. You want a nice, even, controlled pace. Again, keep those core muscles really nice and tight. Keep that back nice and neutral. You don't want to let yourself lean back as those arms come up over your head. As you lift those arms, you're going to have a little bit of counterbalance to kind of lean back a little bit, and you want to lean back into your heels from your ankles rather than leaning through your chest. If you lean through your chest, you put more stress on that lower back, so make sure that you're leaning from all the way down at your ankle, just kind of shifting your weight back and forth. Again, nice, slow, full range of motion. Core muscles nice and contracted. Keep those lungs open. Exhale as you slowly extend those arms up over your head. Inhale as they slowly come back down. Try to keep that elbow locked out almost completely straight. You want to have just a tiny little bit of a bend in that elbow. Almost done. Keep it nice and slow. Really make those muscles have to work. All right, let's go and move on to our bicep curl next. Kelly's going to be using 12 pounds in each hand for this one. We're doing a traditional bicep curl, so that means that the palm of that hand is going to be facing up towards that shoulder. So again, standing about feet shoulder width apart, nice neutral spine. Keep those elbows straight underneath that shoulder. Slowly curl that hand up, palm facing up towards your shoulder. Then nice and slow back down, full extension before you slowly come back up again. The main focus you want to show on your bicep curl is keeping your elbow directly underneath that shoulder joint. As you get to the top of that range of motion, you're going to have a tendency to let that shoulder or that elbow pull forward in front of that shoulder. All that's doing is letting that shoulder help you lift that weight rather than just focusing on that bicep. So make sure you keep that elbow directly underneath that shoulder. Nice, slow, full extension down to the bottom. Then nice, slow, tight squeeze up towards the top. Again, keep those lungs open. Breathing normally, nice neutral spine. Making sure you're getting a nice full range of motion on that arm. Never let that bicep completely relax at the bottom. You always want to keep that bicep just a little bit contracted. And go ahead and let that one relax. We're moving on to a close shoulder press for the next one, and we're using 12 pounds for this one. So those palms, you start straight forward in front of your chest, facing towards each other. Then you're going to slowly press those hands directly over top of your head, keeping those palms facing towards each other. Then nice and slow back down again. You want to keep those elbows just about shoulder width apart the entire time. Now, as you get more and more tired, those elbows are going to try to start getting wider and wider. Try to keep them right in front of that shoulder. It's a nice, slow, controlled motion, slowly pressing up and slowly dropping back down. Only go down as far as you can without letting that forearm tip forward. You want that forearm perfectly perpendicular to the ground, so perfectly straight up and down the entire time. Again, contract those core muscles. Make sure that back stays completely neutral. Slight bend in that knee. Almost done. Keep those lungs open, breathing normally. And let it relax. All right, let's go ahead and move to a tricep kickback next. We're using 9 pounds in each hand for this one. So with this one, you're going to hinge from your hips, keep a nice flat back. Go straight over, parallel to the ground with that chest. The upper arm comes parallel to the ground, and then slowly extend that arm back behind you, nice and straight, before you slowly let that elbow bend. Bring that hand back underneath that elbow. Slowly extend it back out again, and back down. Just make sure you're keeping that upper arm perfectly stationary, only bending from that elbow. You want to make sure you're getting a tight squeeze, that full extension of that arm. Make sure that back stays nice and flat. When you're tipped over like this, you're going to have a tendency to let that back round. Make sure you're contracting that back, kind of tilting that chest up towards the wall in front of you just a little bit. Slight bend in those knees. Keep those lungs open. Almost done. And let it relax. We're moving on to a dumbbell jerk next, using 9 pounds in each hand for this one. So standing up straight and tall again. Again, nice neutral spine. You're going to pull that dumbbell straight up in front of your chest, right up in line with that shoulder, slowly back down to a full extension. So you want to make sure you're leading with your elbow on this one. You want those elbows up really nice and high. Then slowly drop that hand back down to a full extension before you bring it right back up again. Keep those lungs open, keep those core muscles nice and tight, nice neutral spine. As you pull up really nice and high, you're going to have a tendency to lean forward through that chest. Make sure it stays up nice and straight and tall, and at the top of that range of motion, as you're trying to squeeze up, you're not hefting your weight by leaning backwards. You want to keep that upper body perfectly stationary. This is just an arm motion. Nice neutral spine, slight bend in that knee. Again, lungs stay open. You want to be either inhaling or exhaling the entire time. Never stop breathing, never hold your breath. Almost done. We're going to switch to an overhand curl next. This one's with 6 pounds in each hand. And this is just like a traditional curl. The only difference is that hand is going to be facing down towards the ground. So this is actually quite a lot more difficult for that bicep than a traditional dumbbell curl, so use quite a bit less weight than you would normally. So that palm facing down towards the ground, slowly squeezing up as high as you can, just like a traditional curl, trying to keep that elbow directly underneath that shoulder joint. Again, keep those lungs open, core muscles contracted. Nice even breaths. Make sure that you don't use momentum or swinging to get that dumbbell up. You want just a nice slow contracted pull, and then nice and slow let it right back down again. Almost done. Keep that spine neutral. Keep those lungs open. Nice fluid motion on that arm. And moving on to arm circles next. We're using 3 pounds in each hand for this one. Nice, slow, controlled motion. That hand extended straight out from that shoulder, about parallel to the ground, making a little bit of a circle, about 2 to 3 inches in width, just right around that shoulder socket. Doing 10 repetitions forward, and then we're going to pause and do 10 repetitions reversed. Just try to keep those arms up nice and high. You want to be doing a nice big circle around that shoulder, above and below that shoulder rather than just below that shoulder. So make sure you're getting a nice full range of motion. Keep that spine neutral. Keep those lungs open. And go ahead and drop those dumbbells off. We have one exercise left to go, which is a tricep dip. We're using body weight for this one. So go ahead and drop down on the ground. If you have a chair handy, you can do your tricep dips off of that. Otherwise, just on the ground, bring those hips up, drop those elbows out back behind you, dropping down towards the ground as low as you can go without actually letting that butt touch down, trying to bend those elbows as much as is comfortable for that elbow and that shoulder. Try to get a nice full range of motion. Keep those elbows pulled back behind you. You don't want to kick them out to the sides. Core muscles engaged, everything nice and tight. Keep those lungs open. Don't hold your breath. And let it relax. Good job. This workout is complete.